Hello, I'm Michelle and welcome to Somewhere in Bookland. So today I'm going to be talking about all the books I bought in the month of December. And there's a lot. I bought a lot of books in this month and I received a lot of books in this month. So I've decided to split this haul into. The first part will be all the books/bookish things I bought and or won in the month of December. And the second part will be all the books/bookish things I received as gifts in the month of December. And that second part is going to include a very large book outlet Boxing Day unboxing that my wife bought for me. So let's get into this haul, shall we? Buckle in, because it's going to be a long ride. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is two books that I won in the month of December, and I won both of these books from a bookish raffle. And the first one is My Favorite Half-Night Stand by Christina Lauren. This book follows this girl, Millie, who's just one of the guys and has always had a whole bunch of guy friends. When their university is going to have a black tie gala and they all have to find plus ones, her and her guy friends decide to join an online dating site and find plus ones. But then after making this pack, Millie and her friend Reed end up hooking up, but then decide that they'll be better off platonic. So Millie ends up signing up for the online dating site, but she signs up under a different name, Catherine. And this Catherine starts talking to Reed and basically like catfishing him. Soon Millie's gonna have to decide what scares her most, intimacy or losing her best friend. I love Christina Lauren books and I was very excited to win this one. The next book I won is Never Grow Up by Jackie Chan. Now this is a memoir of Jackie Chan's life, starting from childhood to the now, and I think it's gonna be very interesting. Every time I think of Jackie Chan now, I think of this one video that I had a teacher show us, like a dance theory type teacher show us, and he was singing. I didn't know Jackie Chan could sing, and yes, I'm excited to read this. So this next thing isn't a book, but it's kind of bookish related, and that is this cool Panic at the Disco, Pray for the Wicked, stash box hidey hole book type thing, which I think is pretty cool. The only thing that sucks is it's a little large, and so I personally don't see hiding this on a bookshelf and like somebody not knowing it's not a book. I don't see how that would work. I think it would definitely look out of place hiding on a bookshelf, but maybe that's because I have a lot of books and I read a lot of books, and maybe to like non-readers it would just look like a regular book. I'm not sure, but I think it's really cool. So finally I'm gonna go over the 8 books that I bought in the month of December. The first book I bought in the month of December was a pre-order, and that was Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare, and this is definitely a book that would kill someone. This is the finale in the Dark Artifices series, and I can't read this book, nor can I start for a long time as I am so woefully behind in the Cassandra Clare books. There are a lot of books I need to read before I get to this one, but like I always buy the first editions of these books and I just couldn't not buy the first edition of this book. And I can't even begin to tell you what this book is about, nor what this series is about, because like I said, I'm really far behind. And I just keep falling more and more behind each year, so I think this is the year that I just have to catch up. Yeah. These next 2 books that I bought were because I heard how trippy they were, and that really intrigued me, and I wanted to read them so bad. And that is S, or The Ship of Theseus by Doug Dorst. And I had heard it was by J.J. Abrams, but from what I could gather, it's not written by J.J. Abrams, but he's credited with it because he came up with the concept of it and Doug Dorst wrote it. And the other intriguing book was The House of Leaves by Mark Daniel Lewinsky. Now, both of these books are written in a different format than you would normally find books in. They're both in kind of mixed media formats. The Ship of Theseus, or S, but The Ship of Theseus is kind of like a library book. Like, it looks like an old library book. It has the sticker, and when you take it out, it looks like a library book. It looks like a library book called The Ship of Theseus by V.M. Straka. And it even says book for loan on the inside. It looks dirty. And in the back it says, keep this book clean. Borrowers finding this book pencil marked and written upon, mutilated, or unwarrantedly defaced are expected to report it to the librarian. And it says, it has like the stamps that you're supposed to return it by. And this book's just full of different things. So from what I gather, it's The Ship of Theseus is the story. And then there's also like writing back and forth throughout the whole book, and then there's leaflets throughout the book too, and you don't want to lose where they're at because they all kind of go with it. So there's different leaflets throughout the book, and I was googling like how to read this book, and there's multiple different ways you could read it. You could read a chapter at a time, go on through, or you could read, and this is the way I think I'm planning on doing it, you can read The Ship of Theseus first, and then you go back, so you read just The Ship of Theseus first, and then you go back and you read like the first passes, because it's a person writing back and forth. It's a couple people writing back and forth. So you read like their first annotations, and then you go back and read their second ones, and then you go back and read their third ones. So you're kind of like going back and forth between this book a couple times. This is a book that's definitely going to take a while to read, just to consume, to understand everything, and I'm really excited about that. And like I said, there's like notes throughout the book, and at the back there's like this code breaker thing, and I'm just excited for this book. I'd been wanting this book for a while, and I finally bit the bullet and picked it up. It was an expensive book. That's why I don't remember how much I bought it for. I bought it off of Amazon. But even then it was expensive. But it's marketed as a $40 book. So yes. Now, The House of Leaves is also written weirdly and meant to be consumed weirdly. And this book follows this young family who moves into this house. They move into this house that is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Now, their two children wander off and like voices start coming back. I'm not sure, but this one's also written very strangely. There's some parts that look pretty normal, and then there's other parts that, like, the text in the middle is completely different, or there's hardly any words on the whole page. Hardly any words. Or it's written like in list format. Or there's just a whole bunch of X's. Or like it starts going like that. And I am very intimidated by the thought of this book, but from what I was reading, because I was also looking into this and just like how to read this book, and from what I was reading, like it's kind of written like this. There's some that are upside down. You have to flip the whole book upside down. It's kind of written like this, like to help the reader feel what they're feeling. So when they're confused, it makes you confused. When when the characters are rushing through something, then they put the words, so like little words on each page, so you're rushing through the book. When it's something that takes a long time, they put a whole bunch of description and all that stuff, and like big block chunks, so it's taking you a long time to get through it. And I just find that concept like interesting. And like I said, this book, like The Ship of Theseus, is gonna take me a long time to get through, I think, but I'm happy to finally have it. The next book I picked up was Good Morning, Good Night, Little Pep Talks for Me and You by Lin-Manuel Miranda and illustrated by Johnny Sun. And this is just, I mean, if you follow Lin-Manuel Miranda on Twitter, you know he does good morning, good night tweets. And this is just a collection of his best ones, illustrated by Johnny Sun. And I love Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I thought this was such a cute little book that I could not pass it up, and I had to pick it up. The next book I picked up was the physical copy of From Look Off with Love by Mariana Zapata, and this was my favorite romance book of last year, and so I had to have a physical copy. I had read an e-version of it, and Mariana Zapata has become one of my favorite, like, I don't know if she's new adult or adult, but my favorite, one of my favorite new adult-ish authors, right up there with R.S. Gray. And my goal this year is to read everything she's written. And same with R.S. Gray. I think R.S. Gray only have like 2 books left out of her, all her books that she's written. And Mariana Zapata, I think I've read 3 books now. So my goal this year is to finish all of her books. And I love this book so much. This book follows Jasmine, who is an ice skater, and it follows her like in her ice skating career, and she's had problems and hasn't gotten to exactly where she wants to be in her career. This opportunity comes to partner with this really, really good ice skater, and he's really arrogant, and her and him don't get along. His name's Ivan Lukov, and this is their partnership and them growing from it, and I love this book so much. It's such a slow burn book, but it's so good. The next book I bought in the month of December was Blanca and Roja by Anne-Marie McLemore, and I am so excited about this book. This book follows the Cisne girls, which means swan, so I think we'll see where this is going. I only know that because my last name's Cisneros, and we had to look up like the definitions of our names, like the roots of our names, and mine's like of the swan because Cisne means swan. Anyways, this book follows the Del Cisne girls, which literally means the swan. Again, literally means the swan. So this follows the Del Cisne girls, who are kind of rivals because their family, there's like this curse with their family where their family is bound to a bevy of swans in the woods, and they live their life knowing that one day it happens to all the girls. There's always 2 girls. Even when they don't think there's 2 girls, it ends up being 2 girls. So there's always 2 girls who are born, and they get pulled into this game with the swans, and one of them stays a girl and one of them becomes a swan. But then 2 local boys ended up getting drawn in, and I'm just excited to read this book. I've been wanting to pick it up, and I haven't picked it up yet, and I'm like, just, Michelle, why haven't you picked this up yet? And this one would look good with like deep red pages. The next book I picked up is Roseblood by A.G. Howard, and I picked this up for a reason. I know that this is a retelling of Phantom of the Opera, which I thought was cool, and that's a good reason to pick it up, but the reason in particular I picked it up instead of getting it on ebook is because I had heard that it was written, like printed in red ink, and I was not disappointed. It's printed in red ink, which I just think is super cool, which is why, like I said, I wanted to pick it up and read the physical version. Oh, you can see the red from there. The physical version of this instead of getting it on ebook or reading it from the library, because I wanted that red ink, baby. Now, the last book I bought myself in the month of December is a book I already own, and I already have a hardback of this book, and that is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Now, I almost didn't buy the paperback. I almost didn't buy this paperback because, like I said, I already have the hardback, and the hardback is signed and personalized to me, and so I know I'm not going to be getting rid of that copy. But this, like, my favorite color is a mixture. I love, it's like the Tiffany blue type color, or mint as some people call it. I like the more bluish version of it than the greenish version, and this is more green. But I also love the, I also like the greenish version. I just love like that rainbow of mint colors, and I couldn't pass up the fact that this book had the edges sprayed that color, and I was just like, I need it so much, and so now I have it. This book follows these two twins, Kath and Rin, who go off to college, and they kind of separate and become their own people instead of always being the twins. And I loved this book when I first read it, and it's like where you're first introduced to Simon Snow, because she writes fan fiction of Simon Snow, and if you don't know, Simon Snow is one of the protagonists from Carry On by the same author, and I just think that's cool. So yeah. And that's it. Those are all the books I purchased in the month of December, and like I said, I will be doing a second part of all the books that I received as gifts in the month of December. And click the thumbs up if you like this video. Click subscribe if you want to see more of this face in your feed, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.